Hello, this is James St. James, and in this episode, I'm going to be talking about why I created Nootripure. Join me on my journey as I integrate ancient and modern medicine to reverse engineer intuitive healing so that you can re-engineer your body and mind to live vibrantly once again. According to the statistics, almost 1 in 5 Americans have been diagnosed with a chronic mental disorder. Scientists have even estimated that it could be as high as 75% of Americans that are affected on a daily basis with some mental issue, whether diagnosed or not. And even when it comes to mental illness, the younger populations are becoming more and more affected every year. And the statistics for mental health, it just keeps getting worse year after year as well. So what can we do to create an effective change that's going to change the directory of mental health for the world? That is why I created Nootripure. Nootripure stands for the end of mental illness. Now I know that sounds like a bold claim, but I urge you to follow through with this video because you're going to see my exact thinking and strategy and how we can seed this idea of mental health into our society by starting with people like you and me, and then by taking care of ourselves and through a practical and effective way, then duplicating that out and maybe eventually institutionalizing it so that it can affect the world on a global level. This is why I say that Nootripure is here to resolve mental wellness issues for the world. Now, there are a lot of organizations out there, such as the National Alliance on Mental Illness or the Mental Health America, and there's hundreds more, that are helping on the front lines of this war against mental illness by helping the people who are affected severely and giving them the support that they need. But the real issue is that we already have over 1 billion people in this world who are suffering day to day from various mental conditions. Now, no matter how many organizations we create, we just don't have the resources to give everybody the support that they need. This is the reason that we need to take a preventative measure to be able to have a chance at resolving this issue on a global level. Because if we keep thinking about things retroactively, once the damage has already happened, once it's too late for so many people, well, we're going to be constantly sliding downhill. But what we want to do is we want to take care of the issue. We want to resolve the issue long before it happens. And through that, we have to have ways of doing it that can be implemented easily into one's lifestyle. Now, if someone is going out there and say drinking alcohol and energy drinks and many other things that they know are not good for their health and for their mind, and we're able to replace those with something that is more effective and that it's more healthy long-term and that it's more sustainable for their body to manage, then we could effectively replace those things in our society that are causing the damage with something that's healthy and not interrupt the person's lifestyle. Because for the people that drink alcohol, they don't want to give up drinking alcohol. But only when people have a really bad experience or a traumatic situation related to something, then they're like, well, I need an alternative now. Hopefully we can provide alternatives and solutions that are applicable to everybody's lifestyle, so they don't have to get to the point of trauma in order to make a change in their life. Hopefully the idea of having a working mind and a working body long into the future is satisfactory enough to say, hey, well, what if you could have better mental clarity now? You could have more creativity, you could feel more you and vibrance and vitality in every step that you take right now. And you can build your health, your mind, and your mental health long term so you don't have to worry about mental decline or loss of mental faculties or various disorders as you get older. That, to me, is the ideal situation and is the only thing that's going to change this momentum towards mental illness in our society. All of the technology, the research, and the outreach programs that were set up through the Nootripure Foundation are exactly targeted towards being able to create preventative measures in people's lives so that they can create the lifestyle or the balance within themselves that will allow them to be able to create and craft a beautiful mind long into the future, but also be able to experience the increased socialization and decrease the inhibitions that are keeping them from doing their work, their job, their school, or even just be able to get the sleep that they need to rejuvenate themselves so that they can feel good the next day and long into the future. Now, I have utmost respect for the psychotherapy, the medical, and the health and wellness industries that are all doing what they can to get people on the track to a better living. Too often we feel held back by our mind and our body not performing the way that we want it to. So in order to create a solution to this that would be effective in how drastic the changes could be within a relatively short amount of time, as well as have it be complementary to one's lifestyle, we created an initial set of products that would achieve this purpose in each area of life, whether it be school and career, or athletics, or sleep, or even sexual health. From this, we allow people to have another option, an option that is not where someone would take like an alcohol or an energy drink, and when people drink that, they'll feel the immediate social ability, the energy, the vitality coming from that, which will get them through the situation. But in the back of their mind, they know that they're sacrificing their health to become that way. Now, what if we could allow ourselves to feel, perform, and think the way that we want, but without having this idea of sacrificing our long-term health in the process? Our goal is to give people the option of not only boosting their short-term performance where they can feel more social, feel more energy, feel more vitality, feel more competent in their own abilities, but also build long-term health, long-term mental health at the same time. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are on the more of the cautious side who say, oh, I don't want to use any type of medicine to heal myself. I'm just going to use food and healthy living style. But at the same time that one is protecting themselves against the harm and dangers of these substances like caffeine and alcohol and many other things, they're also protecting themselves from powerful tools that could give them an advantage or a leap over their health issues, should they choose and know how to use them appropriately and correctly. So that's why it's really important, along with the Nootripure products, is that they are very education focused and centered, so that people not only have a product that they can take, but then they also have the education so that they know how to take it, when to take it, and for what purposes to take it, so they can use it in an overall strategy that allows them to create better practices in mental hygiene that will eventually lead to long-term mental health. Now, the Nootripure products that we created so far are just one initial step of many steps along the journey that we have planned. Already we have over 20 products that are ready to be released. And furthermore, that we also are working on pharmaceutical patents that will allow pharmaceuticals to become more safer and have less side effects, so that people can enjoy the benefits of a pharmaceutical therapy treatment, but without having to take so many risks in the process, especially in the area of mental health. And for us, that's a really important step for scientific evolution, because a lot of people either A, will take pharmaceuticals and not knowing their own body's balance, they can become harmed from that, or people avoid taking pharmaceuticals or even stronger herbal medicines altogether. And then because they're not willing to try the things that may help them with their current condition, then they're also left out and become a victim to their circumstances and are stuck with the health conditions that they have. These options do not lead to a positive end result. Now, I totally encourage that if someone can heal something naturally on their own, that they should go ahead and do that by all means first thing. But if that doesn't work, then, a phrase that my dad told me was, if at first you don't succeed, get a bigger gun. Kind of gives you an insight to my dad's personality. And for me, what that means is, yes, we can try to do things on our own, but that's why humans have created tools. Tools allow us to do more than we otherwise could. And when it comes to something like pharmaceuticals or drugs or Chinese medicine, I don't see them as good or bad. I know there's people from all different walks of life, different medical backgrounds, but everything is just a tool. And the usefulness for that tool is not dependent on the tool itself, but rather how we use the tool, in what cases we use the tool, and how well we are able to use the tool. Only through having more tools at our disposal can we create effective strategies that work for us to build mental health back into our being. Now, the issue previously that we found with the pandemic of mental illness and the things that are perpetuating it is that the tools that we currently have are either retroactive and are applied too late in a strategy, or they are seemingly harmful long-term. An example is a lot of people will self-medicate using things like amphetamines, opioids, psychedelics, cannabis, even just something simple like caffeine. But if used in an improper way, it can easily destroy long-term neurological functionality, leading to long-term mental health problems. Now, because of this, people will try to play bootleg neuroscientist, but it doesn't actually work out too well in the end for most people. And that's why there needs to be a safer solution, a solution that's well balanced, that keeps the physiological limits of each organ in mind, so that the person doesn't push themselves too hard in any direction. The reason why a lot of people will try to self-medicate and then eventually getting burnt out of a particular pharmaceutical or drug or even alcohol is that in the beginning it works well because the person's organ balance is strong as we have youth. But over time, if we keep leveraging the same organs and keep exercising them and whipping them using chemical signals to perform more and more and more, then they get tired and exhausted over time. I see this a lot with the cannabis industry because I come from California, where it's very popular there. And people will continue to try to take more and more cannabis and be able to consume more THC, and they're creating more and more technology that allows people to consume more THC. But consuming more THC isn't the goal, and it seems like we've kind of lost that sense. The goal is long-term mental clarity and vitality and just overall good health. But the more that we whip our, in that case specifically the liver, into producing its physiological functions of relaxation and peacefulness as an emotion, then we use up that physiological resource. And yes, it can heal the body immensely, and it's really regenerative. But if we keep relying upon one thing, which often happens to people because they find the one thing that helps them the most, and then they rely solely on that. But in terms of a physiological strategy, that's one of the worst strategies that we can have. And it's a very easy trap for us to fall into. And this is why it's really important to have a multifaceted approach, not only from the physiological system, but in terms of articulating one's psychology and lifestyle patterns so that they can adjust their life and create these changes in more of an organic, eclectic, and comprehensive way so that the changes can become gradual and permanent rather than short-term feeling good and then later paying for the consequences of that. Now, with that said, I don't believe that there's anything wrong with any drug or any tool that you might be using. What I'm saying is it just needs to be applied into an effective long-term strategy in order to have good long-term results. So this is why we focus on creating tools that allow people to perform well in the moment so they can get through whatever situation of life that it is that initially attracts people to take things like cigarettes, caffeine, alcohol, but then give them the option of, hey, you can have all these benefits and even more. You have more social ability, more creativity, more enhanced vitality, and be able to articulate your mindset and make these slight incremental changes that can make all the difference over time when it comes to your mental health. The way that we set up the Nootripure Foundation was not only to use donations to fund the research and the education, but was also to create the products that when people use the products, it will give them the benefits, and now that they have the option of increasing that short-term performance so they can get through their daily work with minimizing their stress and they can get it done faster so they can go home and live a more balanced lifestyle. But then those profits generated from those products are able to go back into the Nootripure Foundation, funding the goals for education and research that will eventually lead to better products and better technologies that are going to help mental health for the world in the long run. Admittedly, Nootripure is still in its infancy stage and there's a long way to go. But for how many companies are fighting for mental health on the preventative lines, there's really not that many other options or other people targeting mental health in this regard. But unfortunately, Nootripure is probably one of the only organizations in the world that's on the front lines in a preventative way treating the mental health pandemic through science and technology and practical ways that are going to create the significant changes needed to be able to shift the direction of mental illness in our society. This is why I'm willing to do anything and everything necessary. No matter how many scientists I need to hire, no matter how many times I have to have awkward conversations with a camera to just share everything about myself. But everything that it takes and anything that it takes to be able to redirect mental health for the world is my personal mission. And that's what I'm going to do until the day I take my last breath. As a person who's gone through the depths of mental illness, considering even checking myself in permanently to a mental institution because after unfortunate surgery, I woke up, I was hallucinating, had panic attacks, seizures, migraines, and a whole list of other horrible things that came along with mental decline over the next 10 years of my life. And after living through that and then pushing myself to find the ways in which I can recover, once I got recovered, once I got my mental clarity back, and once I got my vitality back, I told myself, I don't want anyone else to feel that they are stuck in the condition that they're in. For me, just watching all my friends on Instagram have the time of their life while I spent all summer just lying in bed, unable to move, unable to even take care of myself, unable to barely hold conversations. I wouldn't wish that even upon my enemies. And for me, seeing the state that the world is in, seeing that how many people are living day to day with serious mental health conditions, or seeing other friends who are clearly living a lifestyle that's heading them towards that direction. It's just painful for me to watch, and I want to do everything I can within my ability to redirect, the people who are interested, and giving them an option that says, hey, I know you have your lifestyle, I know you want to do you, but what if there was a more strategic way that we could create the lifestyle that you want, not just for now, not just to get through the week, not just to get through the stress that you have or the pain that you're dealing with right now, but long into the future, so that you don't have to go through the pain and suffering like I and a billion other people in this world have done. The information that I'm gathering now is not only to heal myself, for which I feel like I've already overcome a lot of my deeper challenges, but to heal anyone else who feels like I did, to where they feel stuck and they're dealing with a health issue, whether in their body or mind, that they want to overcome in a practical, effective, and relatively fast way. Because for me, I only have so many days to live on this planet, and I want to spend as many of those days living as vibrantly as I can. And I hope the same for you as well. And so with that being said, I know there's a lot of tools and a lot of health things out there, but my greatest wish for you is to be able to find the few key ways and the few strategic points that are going to allow you to effectively create that change as quick as possible, so you can go back to living the life you deserve. Like George Eliot once said, it's never too late to be what you might have been. I hope you found this video useful. If you could think of someone who might benefit from this information, then please feel free to share this video or series with them. Also, please feel free to check out the other videos in this channel, as we're producing almost a video a week with the intention of bringing you tools to help you transform your mind so that you can improve your mental and physical performance. If you would like to support our mission to provide mental wellness to the world, then please consider making a tax-deductible donation to the Nootripure Foundation, for which is a link in the description. And I look forward to helping you create a better you.